Well, on to action from the Supreme Court. Some relief coming in for Yes Bank. The Supreme Court has extended the stay on the Bombay High Court order, which had quashed the bank's plans to write down 8,400 crore rupees worth of additional Tier 1 bonds, but had stayed its own order for 6 weeks. The court, however, has sought clarification on whether an administrator is empowered to execute such write-offs. Ashmit joins us now with the details. Ashmit, take us through what transpired. What were the key observations?
Well, the big bone of contention is whether or not, under the reconstruction scheme, the administrator has the power to write off wholesale the entire AT-1 batch of bonds, adding up to about 8,400 crore rupees. That's the big talking point. The questions were raised by the bondholders. They questioned as to whether or not the power is available. Yes Bank, on its part, had argued that, look, as far as the bank itself is concerned, it had become unviable, and therefore it was required for reconstruction to take place for these bonds to be written off. The RBI supplemented that position by arguing that SBI as well as public lenders have put in public money, I beg your pardon, and that this money could be put in only once the bonds were done away with, and that is public money that needs to be accounted for. Having said that, what's important here to understand is that the Apex Court is asking very pointed questions. Number one is asking for whether or not the power is available. Number two, it's asking whether or not all the bondholders can be put in the same basket. In fact, raising questions over whether or not small bondholders can be protected. So these are questions that the banks will have to answer to. The next hearing will take place on March 28th.
All right, Ashmit, get a sip of water. Thanks very much for joining us. A quick check of some of the other headlines. The Purchasing Managers Index for India's services sector touched a 12-year high of nearly 60 in February. That's according to a survey conducted by credit rating agency S&P. This rise is being seen on the back of strong demand, easing price pressures. Any reading above 50 indicates expansion. And this rise in the services PMI led to an expansion in the composite PMI from